Hello everybody. So this video I am gonna talk like a absolute beginner because I am excited and I just bought a whole set of beginner leatherworking tools or leather crafting tools for $25. Everything you see here besides the table is included in that $25 set that I've bought. And so basically I was interested in making my own wallet because I was fed up by the choices or the selections of wallets available on the market. They're either overly expensive or they are just, doesn't look any good at all. So I'm like, why not, just do it on my own, and it could be a rewarding experience and also a very fun project. So I went online and I did my research on what to get started in leather crafting, since I have absolutely zero experience in doing that. And I stumbled upon a few YouTube videos and they were talking about, the beginner's kit to get. A lot of them are very helpful, and obviously I don't want to spend a lot of money since I just started, and I went onto eBay and luckily I have found the great toolkit to start with. And so everything you see here is amazingly $25 total, everything $25. I can't get over how cheap this tool is, because I went to some of the local leatherworking wholesalers, and basically like one tool they're selling is probably over $20, and this whole thing, everything here is $25. So I'm just gonna go through all of those tools and maybe we could test out some functions of the tools. As you can see, they also included a piece of sample leather. I mean, it's a very crappy, cheap fitting leather. However, I was able to, punch a few holes using the hole puncher, make a few, draw some lines, and then skeeve some of the leather on the edge over here. So let's get started and just take a look so you guys know what you can get for $25, okay? First thing first, it comes with two of those dabbers for, dabbing the glue and then gluing the edge of the leather. So those dabbers, I mean, honestly, they feel very cheap. It doesn't look as high quality as one could expect, but it's included in the kit and you get two of those. What is not included is the actual glue, or the thing that they use to, I think, burnishing the edge of the leathers. Those materials are not included. And again, I'm gonna go out and hopefully buy those, and before I get started, I should have those in hand. So the dabbers, I'm gonna put everything back to where they were. So, and this is a very small cutting board. It's an A4 size cutting board. A4 is the Asian standards. That's kind of similar size to the letter size, 11 by 4, I think, or 10.5 by 4. Sorry, 10.5 by 8, something like that. Anyway, this is a metric board, so all the units over here are metric. They're in millimeters. Same with the ruler that they have included. It's a metric ruler in millimeters. In general, I prefer the metric rulers because the numbers are smaller, they're more precise to measure compared to the imperial unit rulers, okay? And this, I think, is a board for you to actually punch stuff on. So the hole punchers, you can probably use it over here to punch. It's basically just a thick piece of plexi board, or the plastic board. I literally think you could just go out and get a larger board, one of those, the plastic cutting boards that you can get from the supermarkets. Should serve the purpose just as well. But I know there are professional, thicker, softer boards that you can get from the actual leather crafting supply stores, and those are actually quite a lot more expensive. But they do have a small board over here. We're gonna go this way. You have a little wooden awl over here. I think this is one of the most important tool for leatherworking. It's used to actually like scribe on the leather. Granted, this one I think it's actually it's pretty weak. It's not as sharp on the tip, and it's actually, when I tested it, it's actually kind of hard to scratch the surface on this leather. I mean, at least on this one, it's really hard to scratch, but it's included. It feels very cheap. It's feels like a very lightweight wood. So in terms of balance, it's okay balanced. It just doesn't feel good, you know, in the hand when I'm actually holding it. I kind of wish they included another awl that's maybe slightly larger, because this one actually runs quite tiny. So next we have all those things on the top. So this is actually what they call the latex finger protective, you know, tips. Basically, it's just like the top part of the glove on the fingers, and if you wear those, you know, your hand doesn't get dirty or colored if you're using a colored dye or anything like that. So there are a few in this plastic bag. So over here, this is I think the rivet buttons that comes on from two sides. So basically, it's used to rivet a few pieces of leather together if you are not sewing the leather. So I think the classic example would be a belt that you know, you have one piece of leather and you just wrap the other end to the same piece of leather, and then you use the rivet to secure it. Those are very small rivets. They're not as heavy duty, but they're included in the DIY kits. So that's quite nice. And those are actually the buttons, the snap buttons. It's also included. I'm just wondering, okay, so basically it's included from two sides. You rivet one end to one piece and you rivet the other end to the other piece. So for this snap button to work, you use 4 pieces out of one set. So I think there are enough buttons to make probably 3 or 4 sets of things that you need to have the snap button on. Over here, and this is a whole set of key strings. I think this is kind of like old school, that in the 90s or in the early 2000s, they use those to secure a whole bunch of keys in some sort of a key leather holding wallet. I saw my dad use those like literally 20 years ago. I don't know anybody else that's using those anymore, but you know, you never know. Also comes with two sets of rivets to actually get this onto the piece of leather wallet that you're gonna make. Okay, so over here it's 10 pieces of needles, and it's actually a whole set of different sizes of needles. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 5 sets of needles. Each set comes in a pair. So you have a total of 10 pairs, 10 pieces of needles. And over here are 3 or 4 of those sewing wires that they have included. So it comes in different color. You have white, you have brown, and you have black. And over here it's a rainbow colored sewing wire. And all those wires are actually waxed, and I think they said this is 50 meters long, which converts to about 164 foot. And this one is obviously much shorter in length, maybe probably 10 meters. Okay, so over here is your classic Japanese leather cutting knife, or actually you can also use this to skeeve the leather. The knife is actually very sharp right out of the box. You can cut with it really nicely, and it also skeeves the leather really nicely. As you can see, there's lines that I've practiced before. It's pretty nice and pretty sharp. So this knife, I think if you buy it from a reputable leather store, it's gonna be at least $30-$40 to start with. And this is probably a small size, I think. Probably like 1.5 to 2 inch knife. Again, it works and it cuts totally fine. Over here you have a whole set of punchers that I think it's used to actually rivet stuff, and you have different hole sets. I've never used those before, but this is what it looks like. It's probably hard to focus, but see that? Along with this little two-sided bowl that you are using to punching the rivets. Okay, so those set aside. And here is a edge skeeving tool. It's very, very small. And it feels very cheap. However, it does work. It probably works better on thicker leathers. On the leather that they provided, it's very thin, and I was having a hard time skeeving the edge of the leather. But it is included in this toolkit. I think I'm gonna go out to the actual Leathercraft store and buy a few better skeeving tools than this one. Over here, it's a little tool for, I think, applying the glues. It's a piece of metal, and on two ends, it's two different kinds of styles. So if you have glue that you need to apply to the edge, I think you can use this tool to easily apply the glue onto the edge nicely and evenly. Okay, it's not sharp at all on both ends, and this is what it is. Over here, we're getting to, I guess, more of the usable stuff for leatherworking. So hole punchers, they included a whole set of hole punchers. I think there's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hole punchers. It ranges from size, smallest is the 1 millimeter hole puncher. So it punches a very, very tiny hole, to the largest one, I think it's a 5 millimeter hole puncher. And so it goes from 1.5 to 2.5 all the way to 5. Interestingly, they included another like separate 2.5 millimeter hole puncher. I guess it's a common size, and they want to just include a whole bunch just in case you break the original 2.5 millimeter hole puncher. I don't know, but this is a duplicate hole puncher that they have included. So those are great for making belts. If you cut a belt and you can use a appropriate size, hole punch to punch a hole for the belt pin to go through, or all other kinds of leather crafting. The hole puncher is absolutely necessary, and it's included in the $25 set. Amazing value for 10 hole punchers. Over here is your different kinds of hole punch. This is for punching holes for sewing. So they included a set of 4, and I think this is 4 millimeter sized hole puncher for punching holes on the leather for sewing. Okay, the build quality of those punchers, I mean, they are steel and they feel pretty good. It doesn't feel cheap at all, and the holes are, I mean, they're not very precise. Some of the holes are actually misaligned, but it's included, and it's I'm for sure gonna be grateful that I'm gonna be using this to kickstart my leatherworking career or leatherworking journey, and it's fun to have, and it's nice that they included a this is a 6-pin, this is a 4-pin, 2-pin, and a single pin. So most definitely enough to get you started. This is a little guide for running through the leather, so you can know where to punch the holes, but I don't think this is useful because the guide is not really aligned to any of the tools included here. So it's nice to draw a line so you have a guide over there to maybe punch the holes, but it's not a precision measurement for where to punch the holes. So this will be a nice guide to draw a straight line on a leather for a variety of purposes. And over here is a skeeving tool. Again, feels very, very cheap, and I actually tested this tool. It doesn't really work well. However, the blades are actually user replaceable. So basically there's a little pin over here. I think you just do this, and the little blade falls off from this side, and you can put a new blade in here, and I think you can get those from the Chinese vendors from Alibaba or AliExpress or even Wish.com. Those are very cheap, and they doesn't really work any good at all. I highly doubt I'm going to be using this tool, but it is included in this toolkit. So to install it, also very easy. You just push it back in, and the blade situates over here, and you basically skeeve the leather this way. I tried it again, it doesn't really work any good at all, so I wouldn't suggest using this tool as well. Almost going through all the kits. This is a burnishing tool, and probably in all the leatherworking videos you see, everybody have one set of those. Again, the wood is a very cheap wood, it's very light. Probably works. We'll have to test to find out. So later on when I'm doing a leatherworking test video, I'm for sure gonna be demonstrating all those tools in here, but today we're just doing an unboxing of all the tools included in this $25 kit. Over here is a little nail polishing strip. It's funny they included this. I guess you use those to actually kind of sand off the smooth side of the texture so you can apply the glues, because with a smooth texture it's kind of hard for the glue to stick on there. Again, I don't think I'm going to be using those. Most likely I'm going to be using those to just polish my nails, honestly. But it's a sandpaper that's double-sided and it's included in the kit. Over here is a very nice hammer. Two-sided, one side is plastic and one side is rubber. So the head is actually replaceable, surprisingly. So if you have those worn out, you can probably find those replacements on eBay very easily. Again, I'm not going to be using this hammer. It feels very cheap. Later on, as the skill progresses, I would suggest getting a proper hammer. The hammer is very light. It's probably a 4-ounce hammer, but it's included, and it should be able to get you started on testing out all the tools. I actually, interestingly, I went to Walmart and I saw the exact same hammer. They're selling this hammer for almost $7 at Walmart. So there you go. This is all the tools included in the $25 kit. As you can see, surprisingly, for $25, you can most definitely get your foot wet on leatherworking. So in the next video, I'm probably gonna be just demonstrating on all the tools that's included in this toolkit, and maybe make some sort of a project out of the available things that you see here. But I am actually quite surprised for the amount of tools included. In my opinion, the most useful things are the cutting mat, the little board over here for knocking down on the stuff, the awl, the very sharp Japanese style knife, cutting knife, the skeever. It's nice to have the needles and the wires already included. The hole punchers, most definitely those are very valuable tools to have and well worth the money, all set included in this toolkit. The burnishing tool is very useful. This is not much as useful as I think, and also this little line guide, not as useful. This not as useful, but it's nice to have, and the hammer over here. So again, as you can see, I already tested a whole bunch of tools. Actually, they work quite nice. The knife makes a really nice, cuts, and the hole punchers, I tested all of them. All of them works really nice. Makes a very, very nice cut. Okay, so and there you have it. If you guys want to get your foot wet as well in leatherworking, I would highly suggest, just spend $25, get a whole bunch of set. You can pick and choose on the tools that you need in this whole set, and then later on maybe just spend some extra money on some better quality tools if you really are serious about leatherworking. So if you guys have any questions about this whole set of the tools, feel free to ask me in the comment section down below. Again, I am not a leatherworking expert. I literally just got this whole set and wanted to do my own leatherworking, crafts. So I couldn't really help as much, but if you have questions about any of the tools included in this set, I'd be happy to answer those questions for you, okay? So thank you so much for watching, and maybe I'll see you in my next video demonstrating all the tools. All right, see you next time. Take care.